Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning and welcome to the Ashes to Rubies
Podcast
channel,
podcast channel,
live stream
podcast. We do it all at once.
We are the amateurs who stream on all the programs at the same time and do no editing. This is what you get. The good news is, though, the good news is it has been like so long since we had an argument live on camera.
I was just thinking that. I was just thinking if people have been watching us for a year, I wonder if they think that
like maybe that's
you have just become a morning person.
Maybe our viewership has significantly dropped because it's no longer entertaining.
It's not entertaining.
Because we don't fight on we don't fight.
We don't have
argue.
Spats. Reactions. I'm going to be talking about reactions today at LifeLab at our
little bit of
recovery support group. Yeah, I'm going to be talking about first responders or first reactors. What one are we? Or what one could we be?
We're a little bit of road rage.
You know what I was thinking of? I wasn't thinking of it, but you were showing it to me. You're tan. You're getting a tan already, and you're almost like being competitive about it. Like I need to go tanning or something, or strut around with my shirt off,
or spend 5 minutes outside.
You know what? One thing I like to do when I'm with a few people, I just go, "Hey guys, do you mind if I take my shirt off?" And it's a weird reaction because everybody's like, "What? No."
You're funny.
Like, is it supposed to just be like guys just shouldn't have shirts off? Or should guys have shirts off in certain areas? That's okay. Or is it just jack guys could have their shirts off at all times? I'm not really sure how the non-shirt wearing goes.
That's because you're old and married. So you shouldn't even be worried about it. If you're sweating, if like you're working so hard and you're sweating and you're dying of heat, then sure, take off your shirt.
I should be wearing a shirt,
but hopefully you're alone.
Soak it up. No, but is there rules for guys and no shirts? Like obviously at the beach you can walk around. However,
I just told you the rule. Like you are an old married guy.
So do you find if a dad bod guy is walking on the sidewalk in the middle of the day going to wherever and he has his shirt off.
Why would he?
It's no good. That
doesn't happen.
Maybe he wants to get a tan.
That doesn't happen.
Maybe his wife is tanning and there's a little bit of competitive spirit. Or if the same scenario happens and the guy is like a jack guy, is that okay?
It's nonsensical.
What's your opinion?
I think it's really obvious when people are taking off their shirt because they want you to look at them.
Okay.
And that's
embarrassing. That's what it boils down to.
That's embarrassing.
Attention seeking.
Yeah.
I think it's not
obvious.
Maybe just like the breeze.
Nah.
There's something about the freedom of walking around
if there's a group
in public
of people
without a shirt on.
If there's a whole bunch of people working outside and you're the only one that's got your shirt off and you just happen to be really built.
So when I did interlock,
we all know you just want us to look at you.
For 6 years,
You're not even listening to my answer.
I am listening to you.
There's a fight just for you guys. Just wanted to throw that in there. That's a spat.
Spat. Reaction.
Just kidding.
When I did interlock for 6 years, there was two of us in particular, me and another guy, and we would work with our shirts off from morning to evening.
Yes.
And we would lotion each other with
weird.
Oil, like what's that suntan oil? Like oil. Like so we're like literally frying ourselves.
I'm fully aware of what kind of attention-seeking person you were back then.
I don't know. I wasn't.
Oh, honey. Yes,
I just felt like we were getting dark. I wasn't like on a job site going like, oh, I can't wait till people look at me. Like there's no real people around. It's the middle of the day in a suburb.
How old works. Were you when we met?
17, 18.
I know exactly what kind of attention-seeking guy you were.
The kind that you were looking for.
Just the kind I was looking for.
Any attention will do. Oh, and you're
good attention, bad attention.
And you're a pastor's kid. Bonus. Wow.
Who wound up in jail just like they promised.
Okay, what are we doing?
Could you
Good morning, Morgan.
Read our morning devotional?
I am going to read our morning spiritualities and get our spiritual game on. And would you just follow along and just hear the words, and this is a meditation where we're actually a contemplative meditation, where we're actually receiving something and then asking God about it. So would you just join us with this? Giving without strings. Here's a quote out of As Bill Sees It. And he well knows that his own life has been made richer as an extra dividend of giving to another without a demand for return. The concept of giving without strings was hard to understand when I first came into the program. I was suspicious when others wanted to help me. I thought, what do they want in return? But I soon learned the joy of helping another alcoholic, and I understood why they were there for me in the beginning. My attitudes changed, and I wanted to help others. Sometimes I became anxious, as I wanted them to know the joys of sobriety, that life can be beautiful. When my life is full of a loving God of my understanding, I will give that love to my fellow alcoholics. I feel a special richness that is hard to explain. It is better to give than to receive. And like in our culture of therapists and psychotherapists and what are the other guys? And they get paid a lot of money, and you go to them to get help. But the program that we have in recovery is for me to continue my connection with God. I connect with God on a daily basis. I have spiritual practices and principles. I have a relationship with God, and part of that is passing on a message. And I can work with we meet. How many people do we meet with? And we don't get paid by the hour, but God pays us through the service of passing on a message. So number one, we have to have something to pass on. And then number two, I think God brings us people. And that's I think that's the beautiful thing about the pandemic this year is that I've found that God has brought us people, like the not the busyness, but the work of staying close to God. He brings people for us to pass on the message to. Mm-hmm. And we're not charging like $120 an hour. Although
No, we're not. I really, yeah. And I like this line here. Sometimes I became anxious as I wanted them to know the joys of sobriety. And for me, that's emotional sobriety, that life can be beautiful. And like sometimes I want it like so badly for someone else. And then I find myself like getting getting frustrated or resentful or whatever. And that's been like a big indicator for me. I actually can't want something more for someone than they want it for themselves. And so how do I just continue to like connect with someone and take their phone calls and, encourage them, pray for them, whatever the case may be, without like getting discouraged or getting frustrated or getting too pushy or getting judgmental or, I think that's like a significant key. And it's really like there is joy in helping others. There's joy in passing on a message. And it's encouraging for me now that like I fully understand what is going on inside of me, coming to like a full understanding of codependency. But it's not, I always understood codependency in this framework of like what the external evidence was. Like there's like this list of things that codependents do, avoidance patterns, defense mechanisms, control patterns, all these things, but I didn't understand why I did all those things. And so now that I understand that it's this like it's this thing inside of me that is seeking like ease and comfort, and that I'm actually like addicted to the chaos of it, or I get this adrenaline rush that I'm actually in a sense, I had become addicted to the feeling of anxiety. I had become addicted to the feeling of drama, or the feeling that drama produced, and that I need a power greater than me. I need God's power to like restore me to sanity. So being able to like pass on that explanation to someone else is so helpful. I really appreciate it.
So then you receive a message, and you receive an experience, and you receive God's love and comfort, everything that we got out of addiction. Now you're receiving, And one of the ways to keep that is by giving it away. And so do you ever work with somebody one-on-one or meet with somebody one-on-one, or even like before you start meeting with people and you have a phone call, do you ever think like, that was a waste of an hour?
No. No.
Right?
No. There's one woman that I'm meeting with weekly, and she's always like, thank you so much. Like, she's very lavish with her words and grateful. And it's so funny because I'm like, oh my goodness, like this has been so impactful for me. It's been so impactful for me to meet with this person every week. And so I'm really, it's mutually beneficial because I know how quickly I can like slip into self-pity. I can slip into like, laziness or thinking that I've got it all figured out, or, super quickly.
So when you're giving away what God's given you, it builds inside of you even greater and greater. And there's that whole, it's better to give than to receive. And in the kingdom of God, there's that spiritual principle of like, we reap what we sow. And when we give the love of God that he's given us, because he first loves us so that we can love others. He is our comforter. And so when we give that away, then he multiplies it.
Yeah.
And we grow.
I feel like there's a part of it too of that I make commitments, and so like offering or agreeing to meet with someone every week and then meeting with them every week, right? And like I have to show up every week. And so sometimes I've had a busy week, but I have that in my calendar of like, okay, I'm meeting with this person, and I typically try to like clear my schedule so that I'm not busy right up to the point of the phone call, right? Yeah. So I try to like clear my so I have an hour before I take the phone call usually, and then I try not to have anything like right after. If I'm meeting with someone, I really want to have that headspace. And so so commitment, I feel like for me, I didn't realize what a quitter I was. I didn't realize like how I didn't really follow through on things without that commitment. And so then when I've made a commitment to do something and I clear my schedule and I'm like, this is what I'm going to be doing. And this program is going to be, right now I'm finishing up 2 things that finished this week. So Saturday and Tuesday. And I've had those commitments
and they're done
since October.
Woo.
And so since October, Saturday at 12 o'clock and Tuesday at 1 o'clock, I meet with these people, and it's 2 different things. And there's homework involved with both, and like a considerable amount of homework involved with both. And that has been deeply rewarding and has really been transformational for me to have those commitments that I always show up early. I'm that social person. I always show up early, and I try to be available to stick around afterwards in case somebody wants to like chit chat. And I just feel like it's like weightlifting. Like you're actually like you're strengthening your own character by sticking to your commitments.
So have you ever had a commitment where the person ghosted you, never showed up?
For me, no. I'm in groups. Like there's another group that.
But I mean, like
no.
I have, and I was like, I don't want to be upset because I know it's a spiritual reward. I set apart this hour, 2 hours, and then the person calls me right before. And it's like, you can't call me like the night before. I have this time, like I can't do anything with it. And so at the beginning, I was like, I feel like I'm getting ripped off, but I'm not, because that time was set aside no matter what. And so I just have learned to be like, hey,
well, that's the part with no strings attached, problem. Right? Like that's what this is talking about. Like when we're willing to give to another without any demand for return, if they cancel on you and you're going to be upset, those are strings.
So what if I go to the job site doing interlock with my shirt off and all
back to shirt off.
No, but what if we start working and then the boss comes in and says, we can't work anymore. Like we gotta wait for some tools, or we gotta wait for some bricks, and you're like going to get paid for the rest of the day. But it's like, okay, guys, go home after lunch and We'll see you tomorrow. And it's like, I wouldn't even think about it. I would be like, yahoo! Or like even a rain day. Like you're supposed to go to work and all of a sudden it's raining in the morning and he calls you up and goes, we're not working today. And it's like, oh, okay, great. And I'll just go back to bed. And do I do that when somebody doesn't show up? Because am I truly believing that it is better to give than receive, and that my employer is giving me no matter what?
Right.
Good. All right. That's what we'll leave with.
I'll let you practice. I'll cancel on you a few times just to let you practice that.
All right. I can't wait. They canceled dinner. Sorry, guys. Dinner ghosted us.
I don't know.
Oh, no. All right. We will, we'll see you tomorrow. Oh, we'll see you at noon.
We are going to be on Zoom at noon Eastern time. Anyone is welcome. And we are going to talk about, I believe that it's about responding instead of reacting. Ooh. We are called to be first responders, not first reactors. Ooh. All right. We will see you guys. Anyone's welcome.
Noon. Wash your hands.